Hey guys, Cal here, bringing you another video. This one is going to be my 8.5 Tails deck updated, trying to update this once every 2 months. If you want to see the updates live, definitely check out the Mox Field at Cal on a Farm. But if you're just interested in the channel, definitely just give it a like and subscribe. And let's just get straight into it. This is going to be a grindy deck, making a lot of mana to pump into our commander's ability. And we're going to be wrathing the board a lot because with that, a lot of mana, we want to drop Haymakers and use that as another way to close out the game. So if you like quick decks, this might not be it for you. However, if you like a consistent deck, this deck consistently gets to late in the game and you're always going to have something to do. So let's jump straight into it. 8.5 Tails, 2 mana, 2/2 legendary Fox Cleric. For 2 mana, it can make any permanent you control gain protection from white until end of turn. Yours, not your opponent's. People get this confused a lot. It's just your stuff, not your opponent's. And for 1 mana, you can make any target spell or permanent white until end of turn. So we can make anything white that is ours or our opponent's. However, we can only give our things protection. Something to keep in mind. So what are we doing with our mana? We're going to be using it for Ugin. Ugin, you can make everyone with 8.5 Tails, you make everyone's lands white and then use the -X to exile all our opponent's lands. Because of the bracket system, we probably won't be doing this very often. Definitely check it with your play group. I plan on playing this in bracket 3, so I don't personally plan on blowing up lands. Ugin is here as kind of like an homage, something that we used to be able to do, and he's my boy, so I gotta keep him in the deck. If you don't plan on blowing up lands, cut the Ugin. He's just kind of here for sentimental value and is another Wrath in our Wrath slot. So again, if you don't care about Ugining people, don't keep it in there. I just have it for personal reasons. The deck can function without him, but that is kind of the main thing that we were doing back in the day with 8.5 Tails. Going over just the stuff in the deck, the creatures, we have Esper Sentinel, pretty standard for your draw. Serra Ascendant, because this is Battle Cruiser, we're trying to really grind out the game and beat people's faces with big, dumb creatures. We really need to make it to the late game, and a great way to lose in the late game is to be at 10 life. So Serra Ascendant comes down really early, protects our life. I recommend just not attacking with Serra Ascendant. People are very scared of this card, dropping it, especially if you drop it turn 1. Just be like, hey guys, I'm not going to attack with this, please don't blow it up. And if you really want to attack people, just be like, I'm attacking you, but if you show me like swords, if you show me any type of removal for this, I just want to attack you, I'll attack someone else. Just really try to politic your way into keeping the Serra Ascendant alive, and it will just do wonders for you, really put you on its shoulders. Just don't be too aggressive. The last thing you want is someone to remove this, and then after this getting removed, someone else pops off with something else. So make sure to try your best to keep this alive. I really want to stress this. You don't want to lose your Serra Ascendant ever. So even if that means not attacking, if it's not attacking, that means they're not attacking into you. Just keep it alive, and you'll make it to the end game. Weathered Wayfarer, you can use it to get your lands. We have a lot of bounce lands, a lot of sack lands, a lot of fetches. We can really make sure that this Weathered Wayfarer is working for us, and we have a lot of powerful lands that we want to get out. A small mini theme, sub theme of this deck is to get lands with a lot of mana that produce a lot of mana, and then tap and untap those lands. Having Weathered Wayfarer means that we get to find those lands, and due to those lands usually sacking other lands, we get to then get the synergy pieces with those lands. So Weathered Wayfarer, mainstay, beautiful card, gotta have in the deck. Cloud and Stoneform Mystic, just find us artifacts, not artifacts, find us equipment. We won't go into that too much. We'll go over that when we hit the equipment section. Aven Interrupter is a stack interaction. We're mono white, so it's hard to interact on a stack. We have Wraths for the permanents, so we don't really need removal. That is removing things off the board, because usually the board is clear when we're playing this type of deck. Aven Interrupter removes things that board wipes cannot. And it also stops the exile and graveyard, but we're mostly using it for the counterspell. Scrawling Crawler, this deck, we have synergy pieces. We'll go over them later. Just know that when it comes to giving our opponents cards, this is bracket 3. So scary things aren't really happening. If you are in a combo meta where people are comboing off all the time in your bracket 3 games, definitely you might want to consider not running these Howling Mine effects. However, in the majority of games I play at the card shop in my playgroup, they're not really going crazy, and I don't mind giving people cards. We also are a slower deck. We're just ramping in the early game. We aren't like dropping threats that people want to remove. So drawing people cards so that they can stop us isn't really a problem. We want to give our opponents cards to deal with themselves. If someone is winning and you give everyone cards, that's 1 card for the person winning and 3 cards for the people trying to stop them. So if you look at it that way, as we're giving cards for opponents to stop each other, then this type of effect looks really good. However, this effect only looks really good if people are committing to the board for you to wrath them, or committing to the board so other people can remove it. If they're just 1-2 comboing off, then of course this gets a little sticky. So use this with caution, and if that is your meta, use different forms of drawing cards. But I have this mentality in mind. I want you to know that when we go over the other card draw options that we have in the deck. Werefox Bodyguard, we use this as removal, but we also use this as protection. We wrath the board. Again, I want to keep saying this, we're wrathing the board. Being able to flash in Werefox Bodyguard to protect something that we need to protect is really good. We can also reuse very powerful ETBs, let's say like our Aven Interrupter or any other ETB that we really need to go off. We just flash it in, sack it to flicker. Or sometimes your opponent has like a Bane of Progress or something, and you're like, yo, let's Bane of Progress again. Boom, use that ETB once again. So very flexible card. I highly recommend you give it a try if you haven't tried Werefox Bodyguard, because you thought that maybe it was just a Fiend Hunter and not very good. Mangara the Diplomat draws his cards, has lifelink. Not much to say here. Aerial Extortionist comes down, removes something. It also draws cards when people cast their commanders. Just really good. It also is good with the Aven Interrupter, making it so that our opponents have to pay a little bit more to get those cards if they want to recast it. So overall, the 2 overperformers here are Aerial Extortionist and Werefox Bodyguard. Definitely give those a try if you have not. They're pretty cheap and do a lot for their cost. Solitude is Solitude, remove 1 thing. We don't have swords or path, so having Solitude here is kind of serving those purposes because it's a creature. We slam it down, it has lifelink, gains its life, all the good things that swords has, plus all the good things that a creature has. So very good card. Angel of Indemnity and Suntide bring things back from the graveyard. You can bring whatever you want back, 3 or 4 cost from the graveyard. However, we're mostly using this for ramp. This is a big mana deck, and we're sacking lands a lot, so we have a lot of synergy with bringing lands back from the grave. There's always going to be lands in the graveyard for us to get so that we can hit these huge mana thresholds that we need to hit, or hit these huge mana thresholds to like protect our pieces. So we're mostly using this for lands. I rarely use this for other things, but post Wrath, if you have a bunch of mana, maybe you can get something that's synergistic with what you're trying to do right now. Wormcoil Engine in combat metas is just broken, being able to block and attack very well. If it gets Wrath, you get 2 dudes that are very good for free. One that gains life, one that blocks and attacks really well. Just an overperformer, very good at protecting that life total, making sure that you hit that late game. Elish Norn, very good. Makes it so that we can close out games, stop people from attacking into us. However, don't just drop Elish Norn out of nowhere. Try to make sure that people have used removal so that this sticks, or make sure that you have mana open to protect it with your 8.5 tails. Also, if you are not in the lead and there's a combat deck, definitely let the combat deck murder people, or if people aren't attacking you, let them hit each other before you drop this. Because if you drop this when people are attacking each other, suddenly all that damage is going to be gone. You're essentially preventing the damage that they would be doing to each other, and it puts a big target on you because now you're preventing them from doing what they need to do. And not only will they beat your face in, but they will remove the Elish Norn, and then because they know you're Reanimator, or because you've shown that there's something that they need to be afraid of, they will kick your teeth in. So definitely be very careful with the Elish Norn. Even though we can keep bringing it back, just be very careful on the first drop, because people are very scared of this card. Emira Shepherd comes down, you drop a Plains, bring anything back. This is good with our Sun Titan and Angel, making it so that you can drop a Myriad, drop a Plains, get Sun Titan. Sun Titan gets you a Plains. That gets you the Angel. The Angel gets you a Plains, which gets you anything you want. Really good post-Wrath. The turn after a Wrath, or someone Wraths you, just boom Emiria, and you are going crazy. It also has synergy with one other card, and I will go over that later. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, and Zatalpa are big 8/8 indestructible, vigilant, flying beaters. Zatalpa has Trample, which is a little bit relevant. Avacyn gives everything indestructible. So Avacyn is good with your Wraths defensively, whereas Zatalpa is more aggressive and on top of it, and you're going to be using him more offensively. So Avacyn, drop her, attack people when you get the Wrath the board. Zatalpa comes down, beats people's face in, but we have equipment, so this makes it doubly good with those equipment. So Zatalpa, again, equipment, aggressive, Avacyn, defensive, board wipe, but at their base line with nothing on the board, they're just 8/8 beaters that just kick people's face in. So very good. I wouldn't cut them for the world. Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, is something I might cut. We have both Shuffle Titans in here, and a lot of times because of our Reanimator and our Emrakul here, having our graveyard shuffled back in can be kind of a non-bow. These are just my favorite beaters. I know they're Eldrazi. If you don't like Eldrazi, just swap them with another big beater. But out of all the Eldrazi, Kozilek, Butcher Truth might leave, just because I think only one Shuffle Titan is good. But for the time being, I do like both of these in the deck. Comes down, draws 4. For 10 is not a great rate, but it has that Annihilator 4. Comes down, we give it haste, knock people down. Kind of like a pseudo destroy land thing if it's post-board wipe. But just Annihilator, not as good as it used to be, but comes down, draws 4. Annihilate someone, great. Kozilek, great distortion. This one we would not be cutting. This one comes down, draws till we have 7. I will say it's unlikely that we have 7 because we have a high curve, so we usually have a lot of cards in hand. However, being able to interact on stack through discarding things, this is very powerful. We've stopped a lot of win attempts, and just works really good. If you have a land that can get another land, for example, or just like a land that can get another land, or land in general, Emiria makes it so that you can bring back relevant mana costs on the stack. It's kind of hard to do, but there are ways to do it. So there's a little synergy that you can get things specifically to counter things with the Kozilek here. Ulamogs come down, they remove things. That's their main purpose. And then after they come down, remove things, they have attack triggers. One exiles top 20. This is how we deal with combo players. Hopefully we exile their combo off the top 20. And Ulamog just has Annihilator 4, but they both have Indestructible, which is very relevant for, of course, the board wipes, which our Kozileks do not have. And that's why out of the 2 Shuffle Titans, the Kozilek is more likely to go, just because the Ulamog synergizes more with our board wipes than the Kozilek does. Emrakul comes down, boom. We have sack lands, so we usually have a land in the graveyard. We have sorcery card draw. We have artifacts. We have everything in this deck. So this really reduces that cost by a lot. Comes down, and I've killed something. I've killed the person I've taken control every single time I've cast this so far. And it's been stopped a few times through giving themselves hexproof or whatever shenanigans they have to kind of stifle this effect. However, if they did go through, I would have killed that person as well. Emrakul, very powerful. Always, the opponent always has some way to kill themselves or some way to like take them out of the game. So just having that Emrakul come down 13/13, flying beater, very powerful, and it synergizes very well with another card that we'll go over. Cut a Deal, Secret Rendezvous is just card draw. And then we have Savine's Reclamation is just ramp. Same thing as your Sun Titan. Here's our Wrath package. We have the Day of Judgment, Wrath of God as our early game Wraths. And we have Devastating Mastery and Hour of Revelation as our pseudo early game Wraths. So here we have 4 early game Wraths. Devastating Mastery is just a really good card. I recommend that more people play it. Paying it for 4 usually doesn't matter, especially if it's early in the game. Have the person who's in last place just bounce 2 things to their hand. Usually doesn't matter. And Our Relation is just like if someone's popping off and you really need that Wrath early, boom, drop it. Bang, they're dead. And then they also double serve as our 6 mana late game Wraths with Devastating Mastery, Our Relation, and Farewell. Farewell is super good. If you don't like Farewell, just slot in like a planar cleansing. There are many 6-mana wraths that destroy everything. I do recommend that you hit something that hits everything, though. You never want to leave something behind. Whenever I don't choose all modes on Farewell, I always regret it, and I end up losing because of it. So just be aware of that. Just say everything, rip off the Band-Aid. Enlightened Tutor is just good, finds whatever you need. And this is our ramp package of Brought Back, Second Sunrise, Cosmic Intervention, and Face Renewal. They all synergize with fetch lands because they're permanents, and these bring back permanents. Brought Back brings back 2. Second Sunrise brings back all the fetches that you fetched that turn. Face Renewal also brings back all the fetches you fetched this turn. And Cosmic Intervention makes it so that you can crack each fetch 3 times. If you don't know how that works, go look it up. I don't want to make this video longer than it needs to be. Expedition Map finds us a land. Lost Jute combos with our, or not combos, but synergizes with our tap lands, our lands that tap for a lot of mana, making us a lot of mana. Sensei's Divine Top, we don't rely on whites like card draw through creatures like the Welcoming Vampires and the Mentors of the Meek, so we have to use these generic options to help us find cards. So that's where Sensei's Divine Top comes into play. We have the Soul Ring, because Soul Ring, our Anvil of Bogarden, is a group draw spell like Howling Mine. We won't go over those. We kind of went through them earlier. Dowsing Dagger comes down, gives someone something, flip it, and it flips into something that produces 3 mana. So very good. Synergizes with all the things we talked about earlier. Lightning Greaves gets haste because when we bring something back, it's really good that we get that haste, boom, knock them out. Surveyor Scopes are, synergizes with our fetches. It sees how many lands we have in play, and if we fetch a land, and then in response to fetch, we fetch again. In response to the fetch, we crack Surveyor Scope. Before the 2 lands come into play, the Surveyor Scope will see that there's 2 less lands than our opponents if we were even with them. Sack those, get the 3 lands, the other 2 lands come into play, suddenly we have 5 lands, and then we can just go straight into it. And if we had our ramp options, like the Second Sunrise and all that, boom, we get everything back. It's just, it goes kind of crazy, kind of fast. Sword of Fire and Ice draws cards, deals damage, very good. Sword of Hearth and Home flickers things and gets planes, very good. Font of Mythos, is the scariest of the Howling Mine effects, but we like them, so we gotta have it. This one is probably one of the Howling Mines we will cut if it ever comes down to it. The One Ring is the One Ring. Mind's Eye is good with our Howling Mine effects, allowing us to get a huge burst of cards. We have a lot of lands, we have a lot of like things that we kind of don't want to draw. We want to get to the good stuff, so we'll have a lot of mana a lot of times, just dump into this and draw a bunch of cards, and one of those will either be a bomb or one of them will be a wrath, and we're fine with either of those. We just got to keep on digging. Coveted Jewel comes down 6 mana, draw 3, but gives you 3 mana back, so it's a 3 mana draw 3, very good. If this ever gets stolen and it's untapped and you have Mind's Eye, it gets stolen, you pay it for 3, and then draw those 3 when it gets stolen. We don't really care if people have it. Again, if someone else has it, they're beating each other up for it. Very good for us. And if it's really hard, if they're really doing a bunch of dumb stuff with it, we have the Wraths to get rid of it, and we have our Commander to really make it easy for us to get through to that opponent, giving our creature protection white and then making all their stuff white just to get through and take it back. Portal synergizes with our Reanimator strategy and nukes our opponents, dunking on their 3 creatures, which is usually plenty, especially nowadays. Take away all their good stuff. These cards are the reason why we run so many Howling Mine effects, and we don't really care about our opponents drawing cards. Smuggler's Share, if we have any Howling Mine effect, it makes it so that we draw a card on the end of their turn every single time because they're drawing 2. Trouble in Pairs makes it so that when they draw their second spell, or draw their second card, we draw a card. And because they have so many cards in hand, they're most likely to cast 2 spells. Boom, Trouble in Pairs, drawing us 2 cards per turn. Very powerful. And of course, Smothering Tides and Smothering Tides make us a lot of mana. Very cool. The Trouble in Pairs also is funny with Emrakul. The way Emrakul is worded is that we take their turn and then we grant them another turn. So Trouble in Pairs will allow us to take their turn, but when we give them another turn, it will actually get stopped because of Trouble in Pairs, making Emrakul extremely backbreaking. And it's only happened once, and it was really funny. But I killed them before they got their extra turn. But had they lived, it would have been brutal for them. Lands, 43 lands. We got to hit a land drop every single turn. We have a lot of fetches, so we actually can thin the deck pretty easily. Don't get too scared of this 43 lands. You may flood out every now and then, but we really need to make sure that we hit those lands. And if we have too many lands in our hands, we can always discard them. To discard effects, it's just like it never really hurts too much. If you want to trim a few for some more pet cards, definitely go for it, but I don't recommend going below 40. Every single time I go down from 43 to like 40, I always regret it every single time. Arid Archway, it's bounce land, very cool. Arid Mesa is a fetch. Bant Panorama is a fetch. Desert Temple on taps lands, very synergistic. Drown Yard Temple, if they sack it, we can pay 3, get it back onto the battlefield. Or if we discard it, we pay 3, get to the battlefield. It's a really nice, easy way to ramp lands in white with the way that we built our deck. Emeria, the Sky Ruin, again, we're trying to reanimate. This is kind of our end game. We're trying to get to this. And sometimes based on your start, you get this online on turn 3, turn 4. But sometimes it never comes on because of our crazy mana base. So just be aware. But it's also quite easy if you really want to go for this to get it up. So because of all the fetches we have. Escape Tunnel is a fetch. Esper Panorama is a fetch. Evolving Wilds is a fetch. Fable Passage is a fetch. Flagstone, if it ever gets sacked, which is common, we get to search out a plains. So we're ramping when it gets sacked. Flooded Strand is a fetch. Guiltless Commons is a bounce land. Hall of the Bandit Lord is a way that we get haste. But this haste doesn't work with reanimate, which I've noticed, and that's why we have the Lightning Greaves. It used to just be the Hall, but a lot of our big boys get destroyed, and we got to bring them back. So that's where the Lightning Greaves come in. But before the Lightning Greaves, Hall of the Bandit Lord is our GOAT, and is very easy to get out with all our searching. Lotus Field comes in sack 2. Lotus Vale come in sack 2. Marsh Flats is a fetch. Naya is a fetch. We have only 13 planes, so don't get too crazy with the fetches because you will run out of planes. It's burned me once. Maybe we should go to 14. Who knows? Prismatic Vesta is a fetch. Scorched Ruin taps for 4, which is kind of crazy. Shire Terrace. Shire is a fetch. Talon Gates, we make a lot of mana. Being able to flash it in is very good, but also just dropping as land. It's just 4 mana. Ramp a spell, very good. We can hold open a lot of mana with our 8.5 tails, so it isn't as dead, or it isn't as unrealistic to pay 4 to flash us in as one may think. Temple of the False God is always turned on. We have so many lands, and we have ways to, we'll talk about later, in case you don't have that many lands. Terramorphic Expanse is a fetch. Thespian Stage copies these huge lands we have. Urza's Cave finds a land. Vesuva is mostly here for our, what is it called? Our Dousing Dagger coming down, making a land that taps for 3. But it can come in, copy anything. There's always something. Just be aware that if you copy one of your bounce lands or one of your like Lotus Fields or something, the ETB will happen. So be aware that you will be sacking lands to your Vesuva. And Windswept Teeth is a fetch. Now we have the Yavi Maya, Cradle of Growth, and the Urberg. These are here to hold our fetches. In the early game, we really don't want to crack our fetches because we have so much fetch synergy, and the more fetches we have, the more powerful our ramp becomes. So being able to hold our fetch as long as we can to really take advantage of these spells is very important, and that's why the Urborg and the Yavi Maya come into play to really make it so that we can keep those fetches. And also because, again, 13 planes. If we run out of planes, we can use these to tap. So they come in play early, they come in play late. Sometimes you'll drop these and be like, haha, look at this, and everyone will look at you funny, but they don't know the power. They don't know why you're running this, and they'll be very confused. And I love it when people are always just like, you have a crazy mana base, because we do have a crazy mana base, but it works. It's only failed me once so far out of the many games I played, because sometimes you never find your planes, but that is the risk you take, and it doesn't happen very often. So that is going to be the deck. Hopefully the video wasn't too long here, but very consistent. We rarely ever have a quick game, dependent on, of course, your play group. If you feel like you're getting blown out all the time, like boom, we're getting blown out every single time, they're winning so fast, more Wraths. Run more Wraths. That's just how it is. We have Boom Pile, 4 mana, Wrath, everything. If you need something that hits creatures very early, you say you go in against a Voya all the time, out of time, that boy, boom, out of time, get him out of there. There's many options you can get to just Wrath the board. Wrathing the board is just a great way to make sure that you ensure the late game. And if your opponents are like, bro, I can't handle all these Wraths, tell them to play worse decks, because this is the only way that a lot of people can deal with these oppressive and really fast decks. So hopefully you all did enjoy the video. If you are going to play a deck, let me know. Let me know how it goes. If this inspired you to put some tech in your own mono white decks, definitely let me know. And hopefully you'll be here in 2 months for the update. And I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.